Welcome everyone. Adolescence is a critical period defined by major transformations. During this stage of life, young people experience profound physical growth, mental development, and social changes that reshape how they interact with the world around them. I am Dr. M. Singh. Today we will be talking about why sleep is so important for teens, what can disrupt it, and how to spot common sleep problems. When you hear the word adolescence, what comes to the mind? For most of us, it's a specific age or maybe the start of high school. But the truth is, adolescence is surprisingly difficult to pin down with just a single number or a simple definition. While we commonly define it by a child's age or the onset of puberty, it's actually a much bigger picture. Becoming an adolescent is a mix of many moving parts. It's about their school grade, their emotional growth, their physical development, and how they begin to form their own unique identity. It is a total transformation of who they are, not just a birthday. The biological timeline to give us a baseline framework, organizations like the American Academy of Pediatrics define a teenager as anyone between the ages of 12 and 18 years. However, they also openly recognize a vital truth. Puberty doesn't wait for a 12th birthday. It often begins well before then. Biologically speaking, the inner clock of puberty starts ticking long before we see any changes on the outside. For girls, those initial internal signals typically begin between the ages of 7 and 11. For boys, that biological clock is delayed by about 2 years, usually starting between the ages of 9.5 and 13.5 years. So, by the time a child officially becomes a teen by age, their biological transition is already well underway. How we measure development. Because of this, the physical signs of puberty manifest on a timeline that is entirely unique to each individual child. There is no single normal date on the calendar, and comparing one child to another can be misleading. To help navigate this, doctors and researchers use a standardized classification system called the Tanner scale or Tanner stages. Instead of looking at a child's age, the Tanner scale measures actual physical progression. It tracks a child's development across five distinct stages, ranging from stage 1, which is before puberty begins, all the way to stage 5, which represents full physical maturity. To map out this progression, the system looks at specific criteria, including the development of pubic hair, breast buds, and testicular growth. For adolescents, it is helpful to consider their sleep in the context of the intersection of behavioral, social, and biologic factors they experience during this developmental stage. Behavioral factors can include factors such as increasing social autonomy. Social factors include school, lifestyle, parental, and peer relationships, and biological factors include circadian rhythm and developmental maturation. The interaction of these factors impact the risk of development of sleep disorders and their consequences that are unique to the adolescent. Why is sleep more important in this age group? Sleep helps your brain and body grow, supports mental health, and keeps you energized for school, sports, and friends. Sleep isn't just downtime, it's when your body and mind recharge, grow, and get ready for the next day. Teens need more sleep than adults or younger kids because of all the changes happening during these years. There are lots of reasons teens miss out on sleep. Early school start times, homework, after school jobs, hanging out with friends, and especially technology. Your body clock also shifts during puberty, making you want to stay up later. Within the intersection of behavioral, social, and circadian factors, there are many influences unique to adolescence which appear to affect risk of particular sleep disorders. These intrinsic and extrinsic factors can impact daily sleep amounts with a more pronounced effect if multiple factors are playing a role. These factors may also increase risk for development of mental health disorders. The struggle to get teenagers to bed at night and the absolute nightmare of waking them up for school the next morning is common. In addition, it is incredibly common to blame this on laziness, bad attitude, or late night scrolling. But today, I want to share what is actually going on beneath the surface. The truth is, our teenagers are caught in a perfect biological storm. First, let's talk about bedtime. As children enter puberty, their internal biological clocks undergo a mandatory 2-hour shift known scientifically as a circadian phase delay. Essentially, their bodies naturally refuse to feel tired until about 2 hours later than they used to. They aren't just being stubborn, they physically cannot fall asleep early. When you mix this biological shift with environmental factors like having homework loads, sports, and social lives, bedtime gets pushed later and later. But here is where the real problem starts. While bedtime moves later, rise time moves earlier. On weekdays, early school start times force teenagers to wake up long before their bodies are ready. Because they are going to bed later but waking up earlier, their total sleep amount plummets, particularly on school days. To cope with this exhaustion, teens do what any of us would do. They crash on the weekends. They sleep in for hours on Saturdays and Sundays to try and catch up. However, this massive discrepancy between weekday and weekend schedules destroys their sleep-wake regularity. By the time they hit mid-puberty, this constant biological whiplash leads to a severe daytime sleep tendency. They aren't just yawning in class, they are operating in a cloud of chronic exhaustion. So, what can we do about this? It comes down to parental protection of sleep time. As parents and community members, we need to stop viewing teens' sleep struggles as a behavioral flaw and start viewing sleep as a biological necessity that requires our protection. We can help by establishing realistic evening wind down routines, helping them manage overloaded schedules, and understanding that their bodies are going through a massive developmental shift. Sleep needs vary as a function of age. Adolescents need almost as much sleep as they needed during childhood, generally between 9 and 9.25 hours per night. However, there is a concern that adolescents do not achieve their needed sleep each night. This is attributed to various distractions, including school, work, and social schedules and responsibilities, as well as technologically mediated distractions. Result: functioning in a twilight zone. Most don't get enough. This is called insufficient sleep syndrome. To truly prioritize your health, aim for a sleep routine that allows you to wake up naturally without an alarm, signaling that your body is fully rested. The secret to achieving this is consistency, keeping the exact same sleep and wake times throughout the entire week, including weekends. While it is tempting to sleep in on Saturdays and Sundays, doing so disrupts your internal biological clock. Maintaining a steady schedule stabilizes your circadian rhythm, which effectively eliminates daytime sleepiness, maximizes your daily energy levels, and ensures you feel sharp, focused, and refreshed every single day. Sleep problems can be caused by stress, mental health issues, using substances, or just having an irregular schedule. Even things like scrolling on your phone before bed can make it harder to fall asleep. Not getting enough sleep can make you feel tired during the day, make it harder to pay attention in class, and even affect your mood. It can also make risky behaviors like driving tired or using substances more likely. Risk taking behavior, including the use of and abuse of recreational, legal, and illegal drugs and alcohol, is extremely common in adolescence. These behaviors often contribute to problems with daytime sleepiness and are also an additive risk factor for motor vehicular collisions. 40% of this age group have tried an illicit drug. 90% of high school students have tried alcohol. Sleep problems are significantly more common in individuals using illicit drugs, alcohol, and nicotine. In the next session, we will discuss common sleep problems seen in teenagers and adolescents and how to diagnose and treat them. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Please forward the information to your friends and family members. Let's make everyone perform better with optimum sleep one night at a time today onwards. Remember, sleep is free, has zero calories, and comes with unlimited refills. So treat yourself tonight with a good sleep.